This video is sponsored by you, links for the channel are in the description, along with the Discord. And, as always, if you want to buy Arknights and field packs for cheaper, I present you Rushbuy.gg, an affordable and trustworthy top-up site if these Trustpilot reviews are anything to go by, with upwards of a 24% discount for Enfield and many other games. It's super simple, you log into the site, slap in your login info and purchase stuff. After you complete the purchase, however, keep the page open. This little chat will pop up and sometimes the guy at customer service topping up your account will need some info. If you leave the page, there is a chance the top-up will fail. In this case, I had Mr. Julian by my side. You may be wondering, SUPAH, isn't it a little worrying that I need to give my account login info to Mr. Julian over here? Well, if the Trustpilot reviews were not enough to convince you, I volunteered myself as the guinea pig, and indeed, I am now the proud owner of an admin signature weapon. Just watch out, it may take a while since it's an actual guy topping up your account and logging in manually, but usually top-ups are completed within 10 minutes. Use code SUPAH0310 for a 15% discount on your next purchase, using the links in the description and the pinned comment. Hello there, Arknights and field YouTuber here. Clicking on this video, you may have been expecting some nerd shit like calculations or spreadsheets. Unfortunately, here on the SUPAH channel, we do not believe in calcs. Besides, what are you gonna optimize for in Enfield? There's no endgame, and the Umbral Monument agony stages can be cleared with level 70 teams, a stick, and positive thinking. Before we even get started, Yvonne has one massive issue to address, that being that while she is a very good unit on paper, she is arguably inferior to Rite and Laevatain. This means that yes, if you have neither, she is a good unit that will help you out, but if you do have even one of those units, then Yvonne is entirely redundant to own. Not to mention, if her value is already this low in 1.0, I can't imagine it getting any higher with future banners and character releases, you know? As always, the builds and or teams discussed in this video will be in the description below. Rite and Yvonne, put on a shirt versus empowering. They are our two Cryo DPS carries for version 1.0 and pretty anti-synergistic. Yvonne wants to consume Cryo stacks constantly, spamming out solidification and her combo skill to build up her ultimate. Rite, on the other hand, wants to accumulate 4 Cryo stacks to consume them all at once with her combo skill. Actually, let me go a bit more in depth about the rotation. You want to do 2 Rite battle skills followed by a Xaihi battle skill into a third Rite battle skill into Xaihi's combo skill. This is because both of Xaihi's weapons, the Tonetron unit and the Chivalric Virtues, want Xaihi to apply at least 1 Cryo stack herself. So you do this, you let Xaihi apply the last Cryo stack so that the weapon buffs are up when you do the last Rite combo skill. And keep in mind that outside of speedruns, it's more optimal to consume 3 stacks instead of 4. They have contradictory playstyles. On paper, you could use Rite as the Cryo Infliction applier for Yvonne, since Rite funds a big portion of the SP spent for her skill. But that's 1, a huge waste of a Rite, and 2, you're missing out on the several buffs that someone like Xaihi would provide instead. Yvonne is much more focused on juggling resources during combat. You have to apply Cryo, consume it, use her ultimate, make sure she won't be interrupted during her ultimate, and play one-handed. Meanwhile, Rite is a lot more about what comes before the combat. In Rite teams, you will be spending most of your time with an Excel spreadsheet open, planning out the best route to splooge out bursts of upwards of 1.2 million damage at once, and then execute it to give the enemy no chance to fight back in the first place. Hydrogen Rite can defeat level 90 Cuffing Rodagan in 11 seconds with careful enough planning, and that's not even the world record. You would run her with the Tide Surge set, with a chest piece flex piece to give her the most strength, ideally either Space Plating or Frontier's Armor T1, with her signature or Sundered Prince or Seeker of Dark Lung, accompanied by a very standard arts buffing team of Xaihi, Perlica and Ardelia, because Ardelia is good in every team, without exception. Another thing to note about Rite is that she really wants the preparation. You have to have your ducks in a row, you have to have the little setup all optimized, you need to have her signature, you need to pour resources into her. But once you do, she is a really high value unit with some of the highest single target damage in the game. So while yes, on paper Rite is a better unit than Yvonne, she is also as needy as a Discord e-girl with a Hello Kitty profile picture. She's a high effort, high maintenance unit. While Yvonne is worse on paper, she is a much more, quote, relaxed operator. Her setups don't need to be fully optimal, you don't need to pour generational wealth to build her, and she doesn't need her signature. Yvonne's game plan is much more involved. You apply one Cryo stack or nature stack, then you consume it with Yvonne's battle skill to force solidification on the enemy, followed by a final strike on said enemy, which leads into Yvonne's combo skill, and repeat until she gets her ultimate. Try not to be too distracted by her fat ass. Her weapon options are rather obvious. You run her either with her signature, duh, or with the Battle Pass weapon, Navigator. Though, unlike Angelina, this is a much weaker option, especially if you don't have copies of it. Alternatively, you can run Wedge, Opus the Living, or Cannibal. Out of these, Wedge is the superior option, even beating out the Battle Pass weapon if you don't have copies of it. When fully built, it's around 85% the strength over signature. Gear sets in the launch version seem tailor-made for specific 1.06 stars, and Yvonne is no exception. The AMI security set is her dev-intended best gear. In a game where every character is Ray from OG Arknights, as in huge balls of attack buffs on top of attack buffs on top of attack buffs, Yvonne is a crit character. The set buffs and the AMI security toolkits each give a bonus to crit rate, while the gloves and the chest piece buff her basic attack damage since that's what her ultimate revolves around. Though there are gloves and chest pieces in the same set that give her even more crit rate if that's what you want to build into, to make effects like the one on her signature weapon more consistent. As for Yvonne teams, you have two routes, Cryo and Nature. Cryo has a lot of options available. You can run Estella as a dedicated applier, Alesh for SP, Xaihi for buffs and as an applier, Perlica as a generic arts buffer, Snowshine to apply solidification easier, or Ardelia, obviously. An optimized Yvonne Cryo team would look something like Yvonne, Xaihi, Perlica and Ardelia. This team will have Yvonne do final strikes, which leads the entire rest of the team to apply Cryo stacks, electrification and corrosion, which is then consumed by Ardelia. Initially, I thought fitting Ardelia's debuff in Yvonne teams was going to be awkward, but since here our Cryo applier is Xaihi and Yvonne consumes the Cryo stacks, there is plenty of organic opportunities where the enemy has no inflictions to slide Ardelia's debuff into the rotation pretty effortlessly. A more beginner team for Yvonne Cryo is something along the lines of Yvonne, Estella, Alesh and Snowshine. We want Estella to synergize with Alesh to consume the solidification to make SP, and Snowshine is here to apply solidification easier on her ultimate. Or you could slot in Ardelia instead. Something to note here is you should be careful with Estella's combo skill. You need to activate it after Yvonne does a final strike on the solidified enemy, otherwise Estella's hungry ass will consume the solidification and you won't have access to Yvonne's combo skill. But Yvonne Cryo teams have two big weaknesses. The first is shared across all Cryo teams. They don't have their own Chen character. There is no easy, comfortable Cryo player. All of them have some caveat or asterisk attached to them. The second big problem is you're not using Angelina. Whereas Yvonne Cryo had many options, right now Yvonne Nature is essentially entirely locked behind Angelina. You could run it with Fluorite instead, but I would feel sorry for you if you did that. Yvonne, as a unit, has two big issues in her kit. The first is that she really wants to be shooting for the entire duration of her ultimate, meaning if anything interrupts her, like for example any enemy coming over to bash her skull in, you will lose a lot of damage on it. She needs to sit there and shoot for the full duration. The second issue is that bigger enemies can just walk out of her combo skill, which also loses a lot of damage. Angelina helps quite a lot with both of these issues. Her crowd control and enemy gathering make it so enemies have a harder time interrupting Yvonne's ultimate, and a harder time walking out of her combo skill, while also grouping everyone together for said combo skill, and being the nature stack applier for Yvonne's battle skill, while also giving reliable team-wide buffs and healing. An optimized Yvonne Nature team would look something like Yvonne, Angelina, Perlica, and, you guessed it, Ardelia. Though watch out for Angelina's combo skill, as it applies a stack of vulnerable and shuts off Ardelia's debuff entirely. Alternatively, you could run Xaihi instead of Ardelia. Oddly enough, despite Yvonne being a single target DPS, I found this team to absolutely de-atomize crowds. Really, you will be doing farming stages in less than 30 seconds. Keep in mind, in this footage I have no weapon essences and no artificing on any gear. Meanwhile, I didn't find this team all that great against bosses, as Angelina's crowd control doesn't work on them. From testing, I feel Yvonne Cryo is a much better team for single target. Putting everything together, you should roll Yvonne if you have Angelina, you don't have Laevatain, you want to build a second team, or you're lacking a very strong 6-star DPS and aren't saving for anyone in the future, like the Supreme Chief Tang Tang. Ultimately, the biggest, quote, problem with Yvonne is that she's perfectly on par, if not below Laevatain and Last Rite. Meaning, if you have either, Yvonne is completely redundant to own. She's a good unit, but not as good as other options you could use instead. And that's all. Max out your Akekuri. Bye. Hey, wow, you watched all of that? You must be such a cool person. Such a swag individual. Such a rad fellow. Especially the members, they are really awesome sauce, I think. In particular, Lizard King, Ascended Azen, Bar 2D2X, Diamond Dog, Nemotic, Kamiel of Wishadel, Yominest Passmort, Zoramar Slink, The Long Chef, Jinjin Santuna, Vincoching, Ilio, Livinshad, Crayon Box, Ephram, The Lord of All Magic, URL Killer, Divius, Kino, Bomb Ninja, Polotia, QX102, Mr. Lair, Teleman Raptor, 1K, Neville Farov, Zephyrinix, Nupo, Kevin McQuire, I Antonio 3, Sebby Stum, Sam Kenshi, Malachan, 5QTZK, Genius Gay Shipper, Selfer 7, Maxio Says, Camon Hero, Lanmendra, Prancing Peppers, Yuvun, King of Harems, and that guy with 2 names. Now, I will see you next time with my incredible, super cool new video. I do want to make an Arknights variety video next, like an OG Arknights variety video that's not tied to a banner coming out. We have Mantra coming out soon, so that means I'm gonna get to slander Blaze Alter again, so that's pretty exciting. But bye.